we could be walking right into a setup. And so I think when I start to point out what I'm seeing, you'll probably see that it's actually kind of obvious. And so I wanted to kind of talk to you guys today about what could be going on towards the end of this week, how to make sure that you're staying safe and not kind of falling into some of this and potentially getting wrecked, because we just saw this like 3 days ago. And so I want to talk a little bit about kind of leading up to this White House crypto summit. What is going on? How should we be kind of viewing this overall situation, and just making sure that you're staying safe, because a lot of what we're doing right now is we're in a massively manipulated market. I think it's very, very obvious. It's clear as day to see that we are in a massively manipulated market. And so if we are, we just need to make sure that we're not falling into some of these easy traps. And I think what we're seeing right now could be a really, really crazy setup. And here's why. So we're going to start out, we're going to take a look at the crypto market. Obviously, what we can see today is the crypto market up huge. We can see Ondo up 17% today, Move 19%, Link 11, Aptos 12, Arbitrum 10. I mean, some pretty big movers here. A lot of things kind of moving fairly aggressively in the market today. However, on the week, we are still down. Remember, we've been seeing some pretty vicious sell-offs over the past couple of days, and yet we're still above 90,000 still. So pretty crazy there. What we can see, obviously I've still got some of these trades open. My SUI trade, the one lagging the most currently, but Bitcoin almost back to break even after we saw basically a lot of this dip here. And then also the Ondo trade that I took yesterday to kind of to show that, an example of the ease of use of BTCC. We can see up almost 60% just in one day. So very, very small trade. So it's not a very much meaningful amount, but kind of pretty impressive that obviously that's in large part due to Ondo being up like 20% just today, and this is a leverage play. But again, this is why you play low leverage, because a lot of when I was taking these trades was back here, and then we saw this sell off here. I kind of DCA'd or kind of doubled into some of these positions as we were down here. But that's why you do low leverage and you're not doing high leverage, because if I was doing high leverage, it would have been liquidated way back here, and now we're still kind of in this trade, which is good to see. Now, looking at Bitcoin price specifically, I want to point this out kind of as it relates to this potential White House thing that we're seeing coming up in a couple of days. So what we can see, obviously over the past several weeks or several months, I should say, we're kind of bouncing around in this high manipulation zone. If any of you watch Tyler Hill, he uses that word a lot, and I do think that it does make sense, right? I mean, if we look in here, it's fairly clear to see what we had going on at these levels, right? I mean, just bouncing all over the place, no real rhyme or reason. We obviously are seeing huge wicks here and there. These massive wicks are obvious indications that we were seeing manipulated prices. You usually don't get wicks like this just for any old reason. There's usually something kind of deeper going on there. So we could see, things were just kind of bouncing around, and then we saw a breakout to the downside. We saw two crazy wicks here to the downside, both of them getting bought up pretty aggressively. Bitcoin becoming oversold for the first time in quite some time. I think Bitcoin is back at about 50,000 the last time we saw it dip into oversold. And now we saw it kind of come back. If we look, we're going to focus in on these two candles specifically. Again, remember, we are watching the daily. So this is kind of to show on Sunday, we saw the announcement from Trump that there will be a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Prices went absolutely crazy. And then on Monday, they came right back down, right? And then even kind of continuing into Tuesday, bottoming out here at the very, very low 80s, about 81,500. We've since then started to kind of make that run up. And it's very, very easy to see that the tone is shifting. We're going to get to that here in a second. But we've seen a couple consistent days of run up. We haven't quite made it back to where we were, but we are starting to see some bullish momentum overall. We did kind of make this higher low. I think it is a possibility that maybe the lows are in, and we're going to start to see another run back to the upside. Again, how high, how far, all this type of stuff, really almost impossible to say, but that's kind of what it looks like on the short term. But again, we must remember that there's always opportunity for manipulation in this market, and we need to be very, very careful. And I think kind of a little bit of what we're seeing here will explain why. So before we jump right into kind of covering what we're seeing on the X timeline and all this type of stuff that could be indicating some of what I'm trying to get at here, I just want to show you that I do have that link in the description below to BTCC if you are interested in trading with us. Like I said, You don't need to trade, or you don't need to trade even leverage if you like. They've got spot trades, they've got leverage trades. I've been trading low leverage here. As you can see, I've got some of these positions open, just kind of letting them ride for now. Obviously, we've been in a bit of a tough market recently, but I do have that 10% bonus on first-time deposits if you are looking to trade with us, and then also extra bonuses of up to $10,055 per user, as well as no VPN or KYC necessary. So if that's something you're interested in, you're looking to kind of dip your toes and figure out some of this trading stuff out before we get into some of these really, really crazy markets where everybody's making a crazy amount of money, all that type of stuff, feel free, like I said, use the link in the description. Now, moving on though, I want to get right into X, because we can see very, very clearly on the X feed what's going on here. Now, I literally just pulled up the X feed, and you can see exactly what people are talking about here, right? So you can see here we've got Trump invites CZ to the White House during crypto summit. Trump invites CZ, literally one right after the other. We come back here. Let's see. Here's 801. Here's we're bull posting on green candles. Here we're talking about Circle minting $250 million in Solana, or on Solana, excuse me. Bitcoin's back in the HMZ. We've got Saylor sharing what may be announced at the White House this Friday. Saylor going to red pill Trump on hyper Bitcoinization on March 7th. I mean, come on. We've got more state reserve stuff after the White House summit. Again, people are already back bull posting like we're back in a crazy bullish market. Keep in mind, many of these people, I mean, go take a look at the timeline. Many of these people were the same people being like, oh my gosh, Bitcoin's gonna die. This is the end. We're just at the beginning of this nuclear bear winter, all this type of stuff. And now we're talking about these, God candles happening after this White House reserve, or this White House summit. We have to be very, very careful here. And even I've got a couple pointed out specifically. We can see, this guy never misses. I'm calling it now. Friday night, March 7th, Bitcoin hits 135K USD. Write it down. Here we go. Friday will be a great day for crypto. Meet industry leaders at the White House. I'm sure he has a bullish announcement. Are you ready? We've already heard that he's officially announcing the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, which we already know. He did it on Sunday. I think they're just re-announcing the announcement. I think Trump is trying to bring wins, and this looked like a win until that happened. So I think he's trying to go for a do-over here. That's kind of cheating if you ask me, but whatever. It doesn't really matter in my opinion. But this is why I think we need to be very, very careful, is because we just saw how bullish the timeline is. The timeline is bullish off of this type of movement, right? Is this meaning that the market is kind of already priced into what we could see happening? I think it's very likely, right? I really don't know. I don't have my crystal ball. So, I don't know what exactly is going to happen. But when we see this type of stuff, when kind of the sheep will pour in and now they're all back on board that, Bitcoin's back because we've seen a couple consecutive days of green candles, is this type of thing that really makes me wonder if I should not be buying in, which I'm not. I was doing most of my buying down in this range. Like I said, I have some purchases open kind of back from before we kind of fell off. But I was doing a lot of my buying in this range for any new positions. Most of those that have been on WEEX or Phemex. A lot of my BTCC stuff, I'm just kind of letting it ride for right now. So I do think it's really important to note that, whenever something seems consensus, it's usually not the case, right? We're starting to see a little bit of green here. People are getting bullish in the timeline. More importantly, when we start to see posts like this, I start to think that this is already priced in and we're kind of, retail is going to get suckered in. They're going to be buying up at this point, and then we're probably going to see another move back to the downside. Again, we're already kind of a little bit oversold. I guess we're kind of back towards neutral, so maybe not super oversold, but we're at a point right now where price is kind of already a little bit weak here. And so what we need to see is, I think it would be nice to see a continued move to the upside. And this could be the situation in where we do actually see a little bit more of a sustained run, because whatever we're seeing out of this crypto summit is truly bullish, but it's hard to know for sure exactly. I think an announcement of, hey, I know I told you all last Sunday that we're doing a strategic reserve, but we're really doing a strategic reserve. Like that's not really going to cut it, in my opinion. I think it would need to be something tangible with crypto regulation, or I don't know, bringing like bringing crypto innovation back into the US. I don't know, something like that to kind of help spur kind of some of that excitement, that growth, and really just kind of, it all kind of boils back down to like fundamental growth of the crypto ecosystem within the US. That is what's going to be bullish. And particularly, I know that there's a lot of people kind of buying into the like America first crypto coins. That could be another potentially bullish thing. I don't love the idea of picking winners and losers. I feel like people should be able to just compete, and ideally, because the American like political system and government and businesses, leaders, all this type of stuff, because they give good enough incentives, they're just going to want to be in the U.S. That would be kind of my hope. I don't like artificially trying to suppress or incentivize various things to happen. I'm not sure what kind of outcome that leads to. But overall, I'm pretty bullish on kind of where we're going over the next couple of months, next couple of years. A lot of this type of stuff, this is what really, really frustrates me. And this would be kind of my word of warning or word of caution to you guys. If you are on Twitter and you're kind of browsing the Twitter timeline, I will say X is an amazing place for you to go and kind of just check out how people are feeling, what the sentiment is. Now, but I would very much and very strongly caution you not to get too wrapped up into it, because as you can see, these guys basically are a leaf in the wind. Whatever way the wind's blown is the direction that they're posting. And so I would say just be very careful not actually kind of buying too much into it, but it is a really interesting place for checking sentiment, because what we could have seen even just a handful of days ago when I was going in and buying, because again, nothing's changed. The crypto summit was still next Friday 2 weeks ago or whenever it was announced. So we've known that a lot of this stuff has been happening, yet crypto has been selling off. And so a lot of these people are freaking out, but we still know this stuff's coming. It's just not at the forefront of their mind, I guess. And so you just need to be very, very careful that you don't get wrapped up into this stuff. Make sure you know the facts. Make sure you understand what's going on in the crypto ecosystem. Obviously, I am here to help. I do try to bring you the unbiased news and the important news so you guys can know what's actually going on without getting wrapped up into a lot of this crazy stuff of, oh, it's going up, we're bullish. Oh, it's going down, we're bearish. Price doesn't matter. I'm probably going to have to say this another 10,000 times over the course of this next year, but price does not matter. It is a completely arbitrary number that indicates how people are feeling at that point in time. It does not at all indicate the value or even the trending direction of value over time. And so we just need to always keep that in mind. Obviously, there are still some macro things that are lingering here, so we need to be very, very careful that we're not getting, a little bit too excited when we see a couple of green candles, because the macro environment is still potentially concerning. I do think that, or at least maybe it's too hard to say for certain at this point. I'm hopeful that we can successfully navigate kind of a lot of these changes that are going on. But it is very, very likely that we could see, some potential short-term stress or distress within the U.S. market. And if we do, and potentially even in the global market, and if we do, obviously that will be very negative for crypto prices. In the short term, I think the long term, it does not change anything. It just kind of is a matter of when, not if. So that's kind of my opinions. Hopefully you're still around listening to kind of the thoughts of kind of what's going on within the market here. I think it's really important that you do not that you're listening to this type of stuff, so you're not caught up in some of these potential, potential setups. That's all I can think of what this is, things are kind of being priced in right now. Price is moving. People are going to get all excited. And then we could see, kind of another liquidation wick trying to liquidate people who are trying to play things, a little bit too fast and loose. So just be careful. Don't do anything too crazy. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. What I wouldn't do, who knows, because I'm not your financial advisor. You obviously have to make your own decisions, a lot of that type of fun stuff. But anyway, if you have any comments, questions, thoughts, feelings, anything like that, drop them in the comment section below. I really do appreciate all of your guys' comments and thoughts, and I do like engaging with you guys in interesting conversation about just what your thoughts are within the crypto market. I do get really, really interesting perspectives a lot, and to be completely honest with you, those perspectives do kind of shape my outlook on various things within the crypto space. So I do really very much appreciate your guys' insight, and also a like and a subscribe really, really does go a long way. So if you did find this information useful, please do that. It really does help me out. It's also completely free. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.